All right, everyone, we go back to talking about Joe Biden again. It's really exciting to talk about Joe Biden, but it's really not exciting to look at Joe Biden. It's very funny that you've got a paradoxical situation there where it's hilarious to talk about him and laugh at him, but Joe Biden himself is basically like a wet sponge or something. Very, very boring kind of dude. He's kind of, low energy, literally falling asleep listening to Hillary Clinton. Okay, I can't blame him for that one, but he did appear to nod off there for a few seconds. The other day in his town hall where he got her endorsement, it was very funny and became a meme. But the Democrats right now, and you may have noticed this, are basically scrambling to try to protect Joe Biden from there being an actual election. Like even though Joe Biden's having really big difficulties with the digital format of the current election season, like he can't go out and campaign, not that he, appear before more than 500 people at a time. Again, optically, he loses to Trump 10-1 when they hold rallies or live streams. Although he's having problems with that, he does get one benefit from it, which is that if Joe Biden goes out on the campaign trail, let's say that he goes out, he's milling about with fans, crowds, reporters, he might get a gotcha moment sort of hot mic thing with a Tara Reade question randomly. Like Joe Biden is easily antagonized, and if he goes off script, he tends to shoot himself in the foot. He's done this many times because he just mouths off. He challenges people to a push-up contest, calls them fat, whatever. Starts talking about kids rubbing his legs and his hair standing up, corn pop stories, and weird shit like that. Can you imagine? He goes out on the campaign trail, so physical campaigning begins again, and then he gets antagonized into addressing the Tara Reade thing. And I don't mean in a softball fluff piece interview like he's about to do, I think, tomorrow or some shit with CNN or something. With Morning Joe. They're going to ask him softball questions, and they're going to let him give a scripted response with no follow-ups, and they're totally going to allow him to run roughshod over the issue. And the reason why is because they're afraid that if they don't try to hush things up and take care of this issue now, he's going to get asked a gotcha question when physical campaigning presumably begins again at some point, maybe in June or in August. They're terrified of that. They're terrified of that idea because they know it'll sink his presidential ambitions because it'll make him look terrible. If you thought that female voters swung, reasonably towards Trump in 2016, imagine when you've got a male candidate who's half a decade older and has a Me Too problem. It's not going to go well for Joe, I think, in that way. Also, they don't want any debates. I think they want digital-only debates if they have to hold them at all. I think that they might try to move to just essentially cancel the concept of campaigning in that sense completely, or at least limit the debates significantly. They're going to try to do that. They don't want Trump to command the stage with Joe Biden because that's what Trump tends to do. He's very domineering. He's sort of like an LBJ thing. LBJ his thing, he was famously negotiating, talking to dignitaries, whatever. He'd get up close to them and he'd sort of lean up and look down at them because he was 6'4", so it was easy to do, I think, and sort of be domineering. Firm handshake, very prolonged, smack him on the back, stuff like that. He's a very, very forceful individual. Trump does this. He's a master at doing this. It's from a corporate cutthroat boardroom backdrop. He doesn't have to actually be like a strong godman emperor thing. He's 6'2". He's my height, so he's, tall and, reasonably built, I suppose. Mostly around the middle in his older days. But he's kind of domineering. Biden's not. Biden's not a dominating figure. He looks like a feeble old man, actually. They don't want the optics of that up on a debate stage. But if they're isolated from each other and they're just on screens that just happen to be live broadcast together, it sort of lessens the optical damage there. It also allows Biden to be more comfy because that's something it's important to keep the elderly comfortable because, of course, being reasonable surroundings and so forth. Trump doesn't have that problem. He doesn't give a fuck. Also, if you get them up on stage, what might also happen? They give out tickets, assuming that you have a debate audience. They give out tickets to the candidates to give to people. Who do you think would be sitting in the front row? Tara Reade. They don't want that. They don't want people they don't want that reported on, being newsworthy. The optics of that, again, would be terrible. Trump did this before. He did it to Bill Clinton. Remember when he had Juanita Broderick and a couple of these other people up on the debate stage? And the big meme of the month at the time was Bill Clinton looking sideways at them with a look of mixed rage and sadness on his face. The optics of that were goddamn terrible. It overshadowed the whole debate that otherwise Clinton did reasonably well in. I think that was the first debate, if I remember correctly, the only one that she kind of sort of did all right in. She got stomped in the second debate, although, again, the rigged polls told people otherwise. It's very funny to see them fuck with their own numbers. No, they don't want a real debate season. They definitely don't want the differential in crowd size. See, the thing is, like, if Trump goes to a rally, he tends to get 20,000 people there. Biden struggles to get 2,000. The only Dem in the field who drew large crowds is Bernie. The problem is trotting out Bernie now wouldn't make sense because it wouldn't really buff up the crowd size. A lot of the Bernie fans are pissed at him, and they're certainly pissed at Biden. They're not going to go just to see Bernie when they know that the main event is Joe Biden sitting there telling corn pop stories. The only reason to go to a Joe Biden rally is if you expect him to blow a gasket on stage and start insulting people or saying weird shit about, some Alzheimer's spew about the 1980s. Oh, I remember I used to have that Camaro. Oh, it was a great old time. Yeah, we would run over third world children in the streets of Mexico City. You expect him to say weird shit like that. With Trump, he's going to go off kilter. It's very formulaic, and he's going to whip people up into a frenzy, and it'll be a high-energy atmosphere. There's sort of a rock star thing to it, and Biden doesn't have that. The only other person that kind of had it was Bernie Sanders. Bernie, of course, is out. They're trying to get him to undrop out, which is about the most crazy idea ever, and it's never going to happen. But Bernie's not going to get back. And it doesn't matter if the Tara Reade allegations are out there causing his campaign to take attrition. And the amount, of course, is lessened by the fact that the legacy media either doesn't talk about it, or when they address it, they softball Biden and say, well, Trump's mean fans are insulting this old 78-year-old dude with old allegations that they can't prove. Something like that. They don't want a live debate audience. They don't want differential rally sizes because people may be making jokes about it, about low-energy Joe and stuff like that. They certainly don't want the possibility of gotcha questions. They only want a situation in which Biden can individually invite in a live stream or in a real sort of way, a real physical way, invite a reporter to his house, invite a journo to his house, agree or disagree to a live stream based on the pre-agreed upon questions, whether the person has a track record of liking leftist causes, so he can get softballed. He doesn't want to be confronted because he can't goddamn take the heat. And if you can't take the heat, you should get out of the kitchen. We don't need a president who needs to be sheltered from reality. We don't need a president who needs to be sheltered from the possibility of being antagonized by someone asking him something about Tara Reade. We don't need that. Trump takes all the gotcha questions in the world. Trump goes and faces the press every day knowing full well that most of the people that are in the press room don't goddamn like him. And he seems to relish it. He almost likes the tit-for-tat sort of back-and-forth debate that he has with some of these people. It's like, why do you think he doesn't eject all of the Trump haters out of the room? Not because his fans would lash out if he did. Hell, they would cheer. The independent voters, half of them would cheer because nobody likes the legacy media. He likes it. He likes the opposition. He enjoys it. He's used to that environment. If it were a bunch of softball or bobbleheads, he would be out of his element and wouldn't know what to do. He doesn't want a love fest unless he's at his rally with 50,000 fucking people. It takes Biden 10 rallies to get to the numbers that Trump can get in an afternoon. Don't even start with the live stream differentials. If Trump holds a rally or Trump holds a presser or something, hundreds of thousands of people watch it. Biden struggles to hit the kind of numbers that I get on live streams. I get bigger numbers than Joe Biden, generally speaking, when I do a live stream. That's pretty damning. And those are the official live streams, his official YouTube and Twitter feeds. His official feeds struggle to get to the 10K mark sometimes. I mean, come on, dude. He drags Hillary Clinton up on there. I can't even remember what he had at peak. It wasn't a lot. And it's not that it's not searchable. He's definitely a priority figure on YouTube. I guarantee he gets algorithmically promoted unduly. Guaranteed. That's about all. Peace out.